The story begins 4 years after Nick and Noah's breakup. Noah is at the airport, about to board his flight, when he stops by a store before boarding. There, he's caught off guard by a magazine cover, Forbes, featuring the headline, "The Youngest and Most Successful Entrepreneur of the Year." And the person on the cover? None other than Nick. After that, Noah boards his plane bound for Ibiza, where Jenna and Leon, who apparently reconciled some time ago, are about to celebrate their wedding on the island. Once on the plane, Noah takes his seat, and before long, the man sitting next to him catches his attention. His name is Simon. They strike up a pleasant conversation, and when the plane lands in Ibiza, Simon even suggests they meet again sometime, but Noah politely declines. Moments later, Jenna arrives, full of excitement, to pick him up and drive him straight to the pre-wedding rehearsals. There, the bridesmaids' dresses are distributed, but when Noah notices that his outfit is a different color from the others, he realizes he's supposed to be the maid of honor. Still, when he asks about the padrino, the godfather of the wedding, he's stunned to hear Jenna casually reply that it's Nick. Noah is upset that Jenna didn't tell him earlier, but Jenna reassures him that everything will be fine. Both of them have long moved on from the past. Noah then heads to his room to rest, and later that evening, the all-white pre-wedding party begins. Right then, Nick shows up, and Noah immediately tries to hide from him to avoid an awkward encounter. Jenna seizes the moment to introduce Noah to one of her relatives, but their conversation is abruptly interrupted when Nick walks past them. Jenna calls out to Nick, saying they need to talk about business, and Nick nods, without even glancing at Noah or saying a word, and walks away. Later, they almost come face to face again, but once more, Nick chooses not to speak to him. It's not until the next morning, during the wedding rehearsal, that they're finally forced to sit together in the same car. At first, the silence between them is heavy and suffocating, but then, childishly, they start bickering over who gets to roll the car window up or down. That silly argument becomes their first real interaction after all these years. Because they're the maid of honor and best man, the wedding planner constantly pairs them together. Eventually, the big day arrives, Jenna and Leon's wedding, a stunning celebration filled with fireworks, surprises, and heartfelt moments. At one point, the bridesmaids and groomsmen are asked to dance, meaning Noah and Nick have to dance together. And in that moment, after all this time, they finally talk, but only to make it clear that their friends shouldn't expect them to get back together. Yet that resolution doesn't last long, because right after the dance, they end up sharing an intimate moment, a brief rekindling of their old passion. Almost immediately, though, Nick regrets it. He's still hurt by the past and bitterly brings up Noah's former relationship with Michael, saying he'll never be able to forget it. Then he walks away, leaving Noah behind once again. After that, their lives drift apart again. Noah starts job hunting while Nick throws himself into work at Lyser, a company facing a major crisis due to layoffs and bad press. His business partners urge him to fix his public image, suggesting he start a stable relationship to appear more grounded. Nick agrees and makes a deal with Sophia, pretending to be in a romantic relationship for the sake of the media. Meanwhile, Noah goes to a job interview, only to discover that the company's director is none other than Simon. Simon immediately hires him, and over time, a warm, genuine friendship, maybe even something more, begins to grow between them. One day, Simon's team prepares to welcome an important investor, but things take a dramatic turn when they find out that investor is Nick. Nick, trying to recover Lyser's financial losses, has bought a stake in the company. When he sees Noah there, he completely loses his composure, arguing with him in front of everyone. He even tells Simon that they're half-siblings, insisting that Noah should be fired. But Simon stands up for Noah, saying he's one of his best employees. After a tense day, Nick returns home where Sophia is waiting with good news. Their fake relationship scheme worked. The media bought it, and Lyser's stock value is rising again. The next morning, while Noah is chatting with Jenna and assuring her she's completely over Nick, he suddenly notices a magazine cover that makes his heart sink. The headline reads, "The young heir has finally settled down. Nick and Sophia's serious relationship confirmed." At that very same moment, by sheer coincidence, Michael appears. But Michael greets him coldly. He tells Noah not to ruin his life and to stay out of Nick's business, not to tell him they met. Noah is baffled, not understanding what's going on. He doesn't know that Nick had once reported Michael to the university back when Michael was working there as a computer psychology counselor, accusing him of abusing his position of trust. The university's investigation led to disciplinary action, and now this same complaint is threatening Michael's new job as well. In the end, Noah decides to reach out to Sophia, Nick's lawyer and fake girlfriend, and firmly asks her to stop whatever they're doing and leave Michael alone. A few days later, Rafaela and Will host a family lunch, where it becomes clear that Maggie still doesn't fully accept Will as her father. She feels uncomfortable around him. However, when Noah and Nick are there too, Maggie seems calmer and more at ease. Still, the tension within the family never really goes away, especially once Nick starts to suspect that something might be going on between Noah and Simon. Because of that, Nick introduces a new company policy. From now on, any kind of personal relationship between employees is strictly forbidden. When Noah finds out, she tells Simon that it's better if they end things. Nick won't rest until he's driven him out of the company. But Simon insists that he doesn't care what happens. He just wants to stay by Noah's side. So Noah makes a decision. He quits his job. Before leaving, she tells Nick outright that she and Simon are together. Nick, in a toxic and jealous tone, asks whether she's ever slept with him. Noah fires back, reminding him that Nick was the one who pushed her away, and that now she's with Sophia, who surely has her own special moments with him too. Then Noah storms out, furious. Not long after, Nick receives devastating news. He had left Maggie with his grandmother, Annabelle, a woman Nick still has complicated feelings about. When Annabelle asks him to listen, she confesses something shocking. 4 years ago, doctors told her she had leukemia, and after years of unsuccessful treatments, she doesn't have much time left. That's why she insisted on proving that Maggie was Will's daughter, and now she begs Nick to look after Maggie once she's gone. The revelation completely shatters Nick. When Noah sees him in that state, she offers her support, and not right Nick asks her to stay with him. They end up reconnecting emotionally and physically. But the next morning, Noah wakes up full of regret. Crying, she quietly leaves the house. But she's in the process of running away. She suddenly starts bleeding heavily and rushes to the emergency room. There, the doctors tell her the bleeding isn't menstrual. She's 4 months pregnant. That's right, the pregnancy happened after her very first night with Nick. Noah is completely stunned by the news. Things get even more complicated when it turns out that Michael works at this same hospital. He secretly accesses Noah's medical records and discovers her pregnancy. Heartbroken and confused, Noah confides everything to Jenna, who hugs her tightly and excitedly says she's going to be an aunt. Meanwhile, Michael takes advantage of the situation. He blackmails Sophia, threatening to expose the truth about the baby's father unless Nick withdraws his complaint against him. So, everyone agrees to keep the pregnancy a secret from Nick, at least for now. A few days later, during a company party hosted by Simon, Noah suddenly starts feeling unwell. Since Simon is too drunk to drive, Nick offers to take her home. On the way, the two half-siblings have a short but heartfelt conversation, and Nick indirectly admits that he still loves Noah. But Noah has made her mind up. She's done. She wants to end this story once and for all. A few days later, Annabelle passes away, and everyone attends her funeral. There, Noah and Sophia talk about what Michael knows. Noah finally confesses that she plans to leave everything behind, to move to another city and never come back. Before she leaves, though, she manages to help Maggie finally bond with Will, allowing a real father-daughter relationship to blossom. She also ends her relationship with Simon for good. Meanwhile, Sophia confronts Nick directly. Furious, she tells him, "You're living consumed by anger and resentment. You have to forgive Noah because right now she needs you more than ever." Her words hit Nick deeply. He rushes to Leon and Gina's house, knowing that Noah has been staying there. When he arrives, he finds her packing her things, getting ready to move out. In a moment of raw emotion, Nick confesses his love for her, not even noticing her clearly visible pregnancy. Noah quietly lifts her shirt and reveals her pregnant belly. Nick is stunned, but still tells her he loves her, believing the baby belongs to Simon. Noah, furiously and heartbroken, walks away. Then Leon steps in and tells Nick the truth. The baby is his. Overwhelmed with joy, Nick runs after Noah to find her. When he finally reaches her, Noah confirms she is 6 months pregnant. Nick just looks at her and says softly, "I love you." Together, they decide to share the news with Rafaela, but just as they arrive at the mansion, tragedy strikes. A former employee whom Nick had fired breaks in with a gun and shoots Nick. Nick is rushed to the hospital. Despite the serious injury, he survives. When he wakes up, he learns that he's been in a coma for several months. In that time, their baby has been born, and now Nick and Noah are finally together again. They return home, happy and hopeful. Nick is recovering, the baby is healthy, and everything seems to be falling into place. Until one day, a deranged woman named Briard sneaks into their house. In a brief moment of chaos, she kidnaps the baby. Noah runs after her to save the child, but suddenly Michael shows up too. Briard, holding a knife, threatens them both, screaming that the baby belongs to her. Noah chases after Briard while Michael attacks Nick, but thankfully Thor, the family's loyal dog, intervenes, knocking Michael off balance and sending him crashing over the balcony. At that exact moment, Noah manages to rescue her baby. The police arrive just in time and arrest both Briard and Michael. Finally, sometime later, Nick and Noah get married, ready to start a new chapter together, this time determined to spend the rest of their lives in happiness and peace.